Metta meditation. Good morning, everybody. Now let us begin our metta meditation. May all beings be happy and secure. May all beings have happy minds. Whatever living beings there may be, without exception, weak or strong, long, large, medium, short, subtle or gross, visible or invisible, living near or far, born or coming to birth, may all beings have happy minds. Let no one deceive another, nor despise anyone anywhere. Neither from anger nor ill will should anyone wish harm to another. As a mother would risk her own life to protect her only child, even so towards all living beings, one should cultivate a boundless heart. One should cultivate for all the world a heart of boundless loving friendliness, above, below and all around, unobstructed, without hatred or resentment, whether standing, walking or sitting, lying down or whenever awake. One should develop this mindfulness. This is called divinely dwelling here, not falling into erroneous views, but virtuous and endowed with vision, removing desire for sensual pleasures. One comes never again to birth in the womb. These are very noble thoughts that we must cultivate all the time without any distinction or discrimination. We want to share this metta with all living beings. With this background, let us focus our mind on our breathing. Let these thoughts play at the background while we are focusing mind on the breath. We notice the breath rising and falling, appearing and disappearing as we breathe in and out. When we focus the mind on this movement of breath, the mind is fully engaged in this movement, and we are fully committed to that. During that time, our greed does not arise in our mind. Our clinging, craving does not arise. All we see is rising and falling. There is no way that we can hold on to anything when everything is rising and falling. When this happens, mind becomes calm and relaxed because there is no excitement. When desire rises, that doesn't make the mind calm and peaceful. Rather, it becomes agitated, excited. So when this, what we call hindrance, fades away, mind becomes even more calm, more relaxed, more peaceful. As we started with metta, this is the time we feel metta more clearly and deeply. In that state of mind, hatred does not arise. These two can never exist together. Hatred and metta, hatred and peaceful state. So hatred or resentment, anger fades away naturally because the mind is stronger in focusing on metta feeling. And then sometimes it is possible when the mind is thus calm and relaxed, body is calm and relaxed, the breath is calm and relaxed, all are conducive to falling asleep. So we may feel sleepy and drowsy at that time. But remember, we do not want to succumb to sleepiness. We must stay awake. Bring bright light into the mind to overcome sleepiness and drowsiness. Or even open your eyes. Don't let your mind become sluggish. Body becomes lazy and slouchy. Remain alert and awake and arouse your energy. When you do all this, sleepiness and drowsiness also fades away. When it fades away, mind can become even more active rather than become calm and peaceful. That is just the opposite of sleepiness and drowsiness. Sometimes that also can happen. When it happens, the mind will go to the past experiences that you put into your mind through eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body and mind. And they can become active. So you may remember things you have seen, things you have heard, things you have smelled, things you have tasted, things you have touched, and things you have thought. All these there are trillions of them, countless of them are there in our memory bank. When the mind is restless, it brings some of these memories into your mind. Then mind becomes very excited, agitated. Therefore, don't let the mind go to the past, because past is literally gone. Nor should let it go to the future, because it has not come yet. What we have is what we experience now, this very moment. Our breath, our feelings, our perceptions, our thoughts and consciousness. These are the things that we have at hand, and we just become aware of them rising and falling, appearing and disappearing. When that happens, and do not let the mind go to the past or to the future, then mind settles down and stays on the present moment. Present moment also is not empty moment. Present moment is full of activities such as breathing in, breathing out, feeling, and our perception, thoughts and consciousness. All these are active. But when we focus the mind on the present moment, exclusively, all other mental states will fade away. And then you have still some doubt that whether or not you can make some progress. When doubt arises, think of the Buddha, who had perfect enlightenment. With that enlightened state, he taught the dharma, encouraging us to practice to attain the same state that he attained. That is liberation from suffering. And he followed the dharma and made the dharma his teacher. Following dharma, he attained enlightenment. After attaining enlightenment, he follows the dharma. From his personal experience, he taught the world the benefit of practicing meditation, benefit of seeing the truth, and therefore we have to have confidence in the Buddha and Dhamma. Sangha, his disciples, monastic Sangha or lay people, monks, nuns, men, women, all of them are encouraged to continue this practice. And they have attained, many of them, millions of them attained very high level of enlightenment, and finally they all attained full enlightenment and passed away. So the path is laid down by the Buddha, and his disciples in the past have followed the path and attained the same state of enlightenment. And we are following that path. Very pure, clean, time-tested method. And we follow that method. And we also want to have the same experience. Even though the Buddha, his closest disciples in the past, practice and attain enlightenment, that has nothing to do with our attainment of enlightenment. What they attain was theirs, what we attain is ours in this time. And therefore, he gave us guarantee, however, that if we follow the path very scrupulously, we also can attain the same state without any doubt. And also we follow our own precepts, our own aggregates, and our own practice. Endowed with all these things, we will attain liberation. And for this reason, we want to stay following the method, system. So what I mentioned was that when we focus the mind on the breathing, we notice our greed fading away, anger fading away, sleepiness and drowsiness fading away, restlessness and worry fading away, and doubt fading away. When they all faded away, then the mind is very pure and clean to get the access to concentration. So then when we have this awareness, joy arises in our mind, and joy leads to happiness, happiness leads to concentration, tranquility, And with this, we learn the way to practice Dhamma. We rather get encouragement to practice the Dhamma, practice meditation. Therefore, we have to be very vigilant and keep our mind focused on what is happening now, this very moment. All this will open to us from the present moment's experience. And therefore, when we gain concentration in this way, we reflect on everything that we experience to see how quickly they change. Impermanence. Whatever is impermanent is unsatisfactory. Whatever is impermanent, unsatisfactory is without self, permanent self. And when we see this, we gain deep insight, so deep we can attain stream entry, and then we can follow the rest of the attainment. So when we spend this remaining few minutes in trying to see what I said, all of them may not happen right away, but this is how it happens. So let us begin our practice. By means of this meritorious deed, may I never join with the foolish, may I join always with the wise, until the time I attain Nibbana. May the suffering be free from suffering, may the fear-struck be free from fear, may the grieving be free from grief, so too may all beings be. From the highest realm of existence to the lowest, may all beings arisen in these realms, with form and without form, with perception and without perception, be released from all suffering and attain to perfect peace. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now, friends, let us spend the rest of this morning's sessions in focusing our mind on the Dhamma talk. I started talking on the factors of enlightenment, and I want to continue it. It's a very important subject, very powerful subject, and this also is so powerful, it has the power of healing power. Healing power. There are 3 discourses we find which were delivered at the time when Venerable Moggallana, Venerable Mahakassapa, and even the Buddha himself were sick. Now these are all fully enlightened persons. Buddha, Mahakassapa, Mahamoggallana are fully enlightened persons who have followed the factors of enlightenment and mastered the factors of enlightenment. Not like us, but when they were sick, when Moggallana was sick, very sick, the Buddha went to him and reminded him of the factors of enlightenment, 7 factors of enlightenment. Buddha did not have to ask him to practice it from the beginning. He has already practiced, mastered it, and yet at the time when he was sick, Buddha recited it for him. What happened was, in this case, was Venerable Moggallana paid total mindful attention to the every word of the factors of enlightenment with full understanding. Friends, this is extremely important factor to remember. The factor of enlightenment, not only the factor of enlightenment, but also the factor that understanding is extremely important for us to get rid of our certain sicknesses. Understanding. That is why in the Noble Eightfold Path, Buddha mentioned understanding as number 1. Understanding as number 1. This understanding of the factors of enlightenment also begins with the understanding of the 4 foundations of mindfulness. Understanding. What happens when we have understanding? When we know the truth, as we have mentioned in several occasions, knowing the truth, seeing the truth is the sweetest things in our life. We get very sweet medicine. This is not just intellectual understanding, but after realizing, understanding becomes perfect. I think we mentioned intellectual understanding is one thing, understanding with wisdom is quite another. Experiential understanding, realization is quite another. Intellectual understanding is like seeing water in a deep well. When you see water in a deep well, you are pretty sure that it is water. But your hand is not long enough to reach that water. Nor do you have a bucket or rope to reach that water. So, realization is like having a long hand, a bucket, and the rope. The power of the factors of enlightenment. I said the Buddha, Venerable Moggallana and Mahakassapa, when they were sick, when Moggallana was sick, Buddha visited him and chanted the factors of enlightenment, 7 factors of enlightenment, and he got recovered. As I said, even though they are fully enlightened, they don't have to start the factors of enlightenment from scratch. They have full understanding. But when they pay mindful, again, attention to the factors, while the Buddha and Buddha, while Buddha was reciting, then they again paid total mindful, undivided attention to the meaning, and when they when they let me when they listened, when they saw the meaning, that brought more joy, more peace, because they began to see the truth again, and they have never forgotten it, but they keep repeating the sweetness of truth. I mentioned the truth is the sweetest of all the sweets, and they saw the sweetness of this truth, and that generate a special hormone in their body which circulated all over the body and enhanced the recovery, accelerated the recovery, and very quickly they recovered. When the Buddha himself was sick, Venerable Chunda went to see the Buddha, and Buddha reminded Chunda the 7 factors of enlightenment. While reminding Venerable Chunda, Buddha recovered because he knew the full meaning of each word of these factors of enlightenment. And therefore it didn't take too long for him to recover. Buddha gave a very beautiful simile. And he said, suppose there in the atmosphere there is wind blowing from the north to south, south to north, east to west, west to east, and northeast to southeast, west, southwest to northeast, and northwest to south, east, west, from east west to north south, east southeast, and so forth. All wind blows from all directions. When somebody is very warm, hot, sticky, and waiting for some kind of cool, when this wind blows, the body calms and cools down. Similarly, when somebody is sick, when a person listens to these factors of enlightenment, the mind becomes so cool and calm, peaceful, that generates positive, wholesome hormone. Buddha did not mention hormones and so forth, but this is how it works. And therefore, practicing the seven factors of enlightenment is extremely important. In the 7 factors of enlightenment, all the 37 are there. And in addition, as we mention every time we have a meditation, the Buddha Venerable Moggallana Mahakassapa, also full of metta. Metta also is a factor that helps to accelerate recovery from our sickness, metta practice. And when somebody practices metta, loving friendliness, without a separate practice, that person practices karuna, compassion. That also is a wonderful factor to overcome our sickness, because these all are calming, soothing, cooling practice. Then appreciative joy. When we practice that, also mind is so calm, relaxed and peaceful. Then practice equanimity. All these factors are part of our factors of enlightenment, especially equanimity is the last factor. Remember the 7 factors of enlightenment. There is the mindfulness factor first. And friends, we practice mindfulness in our meditation. All those who are meditating practice mindfulness, especially in Theravada tradition. The mindfulness factor, as a factor, it is in our mind. We all have a root or the seed of mindfulness within us. All we have to do is to arouse it using a certain technique, spending time, energy, commitment. We have to arouse this fact of mindfulness, which is already in our mind. We don't get it from zero. We have this seed within us, so we arouse it through the practice, and that we keep developing it, becoming mindful of the body, feelings, perceptions, thought, consciousness, mind objects, and the mental states. We become more and more aware of it. Strengthen this factor, which is in a rudimentary state in our mind. Then, second factor of enlightenment is energy. We will discuss all these things in detail. We take one by one at a time. But I want to mention how this all will help to recover from sickness. So, when we realize that we have this potential within us, that itself gives us encouragement, hopes, trust, confidence, not only in us, but in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and this practice. Then we investigate more and more each and every part of our life, each and every aggregate. We investigate to see whether there is anything permanent, eternal, something. And then we realize that when we investigate, again we reveal the truth within us. It is uncovering the truth within us, uncovering the factors within us. That also gives us a lot of encouragement. And that leads to more energy. That is the third factor of enlightenment. give us more energy to do more research within ourselves, more mindful reflections within ourselves, more clear understanding, what is called clear comprehension, sampajanya. While walking, sitting, standing and so forth, we see them. While arising we become aware, while persisting we become aware, while passing away we become aware. That means with our awareness they arise, with our awareness they remain, with our awareness they pass away. With our awareness they arise, and with awareness we see them altering, changing within ourselves and passing away. And also we see, then we get more and more encouragement. As we get more encouragement, as we apply more effort, whatever difficulties arising we overcome with our effort and arouse these mental factors again and again. Then we see how much treasure we have within ourselves, how much ability, skill, potential we have within ourselves. All we discovered within ourselves. As we discover them within ourselves, we become joyful that the fourth factor of enlightenment, becoming full of joy. When joy arises, that is so calming, soothing, comforting, peaceful mental state, that joy. And that is why the fifth factor of enlightenment arises, joy, what you call tranquility factor. Tranquility factor, passaddhi. When it is not excitement, it is calming, soothing, comforting, relaxing state of mind. Even that also makes our recovery faster when we are sick. Then the sixth factor of enlightenment arises, that is concentration. Why and how? When all these other factors arise, our greed disappears, our hatred disappears, our restlessness and worry disappears, our sleepiness and drowsiness disappear, our doubt disappear, all these hindrances disappear. The moment hindrances disappear, we gain concentration. In addition to disappearing hindrances, we already have built up mindfulness, build up our investigation, build up our energy, have our joy, and then became tranquil. And then, when you are sick, somebody might give you tranquilizer, that is external, artificial thing. But we arouse tranquilizer within ourselves, tranquil, calming, soothing state, mental state. All these are within our mind. All of them are in potential state as roots, seeds, elements, factors. They are there. And then we become equanimous. When everything is moving very smoothly, there is no agitation, no excitement, we will have equanimity state of factor of enlightenment, equanimity factor. Now, when these factors arise in this way, and one who has realized the truth, attain enlightenment, they see it very perfectly, clearly, and they very quickly recover from their sickness. There are several discourses Buddha delivered. These three discourses particularly, one discourse 3 times, is so particularly important to recover from our sickness. And even today, when somebody is sick, We recite them, of course, depending, the recovery depends on the person's understanding, comprehension, the practice, and seeing the truth. By chanting in a certain musical or according to certain melody is one thing, but understanding the meaning of each word, each factor is quite another. When these two combine together, one recovers very quickly. So, therefore, most important thing is to ask you a question: how much of these factors do I understand? There is no mystery in that. Don't believe in mysterious recovery. But without taking out all this mystery, and that's what Buddha said, he demystified the truth. He brought it to the open. So, the real emphasis is to understand this correctly and put it into practice. And moreover, we must understand that all these factors are within us in a rudimentary form as potential, and we have to enrich them, nourish them, and make them grow. Buddha said, Vivekanishatang, Viraganishatang, Nirodhanishatang, Vasagga Parinami, 4 factors. I will explain all these things in our next talks. I plan to give several talks on the topic, and I explained in more details in future talks. So for now, I'm sorry there was a power outage here all of a sudden, so we lost certain time by trying to regain our electricity. So finally, with the help of all these people, we got electricity. And although we lost few minutes, I think I'm happy that you have enough patience not to going away and waited until power came back. That is not within our capacity, it is out of our control. So thank you very much. Now I want to end my talk this morning, as usual, wishing all beings who are sick, in hospitals, at homes, taken care of by doctors, nurses, and hospital staffs, dedicating their life, sacrificing their comfort, risking their own life. Out of compassion, they take care of these patients and let these patients recover from their sickness and return to regular life and continue their practice with good health. Those doctors and nurses and hospital staffs and all those who are helping them, may they also be very healthy, strong, and continue their wonderful, compassionate service for the benefit of the world. And those who are grieving the loss of their loved ones during the past years due to COVID-19, and may they recover from their grief and continue their dharma practice in good health. And others who have supported them in many other ways, financially and talking, meeting, counseling, discussing, teaching dharma, chanting, they have done many, many things to help these people. They all are wonderful people. We appreciate their service and continue their wonderful, compassionate service for the benefit of the world and for their own benefit. So above all, I also want to wish all of you so sincerely dedicate this time to participate in this Dhamma talks and discussions. May you all be well, happy and peaceful, and may all live long in very, very good health. Thank you.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu,
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 sadhu.
sadhu.
Thank you, Bhante.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Bhante.
Bye.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Sarnai.
I want to thank my friends Prashant and Varunik Chaturi, who are so patiently waited, and they even tried to use the telephone, what do you call, yes, cell phone. And we were using cell phone and suddenly electricity came. So we are very thankful to their very understanding and supporting patience and so forth. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Bhante.
Bhante.
Thank you.
Okay,
Goodbye.
Thank you, Bhante.
Live.
bye.
Long
Bye.
life. Good health.
Everyone, Sarmai.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you.